Once upon a time, there was a haunted house that nobody had lived in for 5 years, ever since 2011. Uh, there was always rumors about it being haunted. Do we really know? No. The legend is of a ghost, a white ghost with dark black eyes, with supposedly a cape on that would scare people at night and roam the house around the day, scare people, make weird noises, move things, and break stuff. There was a guy 5 years ago who lives in the house. He and his family moved in there, and they would always have dinner every single night. Each night their son would complain saying something's ringing, and his dad would go check, but there was nothing. Then that one night they all go to sleep. The next morning there was no one to be found. It was like they had gone missing. When an uncle and aunt came to visit, no one was at the house. It was like the place was all empty, nothing to be found. Stuff were broken. The only mark was left was a trail of blood leading to the son's room. The ghost had left some sort of like spirit in the house, because to this day that house is haunted. Nobody really lives there. It's pretty creepy, and every time the people lived in there, something would always happen because of that ghost. And so every time the people were living there, the ghost would act normal, but at night he would always do something terrible. So the uncle and aunt went to visit. They opened the door, seeing trails of blood. They opened the door to the son's room, and that's what they find. Blood all over the bed. Something in the mirror saying, "I will kill you. You're next." The uncle takes it as a joke, and he says, "Somebody must be playing on me. This is probably some sort of little kid joke for Halloween," because this happened on Halloween, October 31st, 2010. However, the aunt said it can be real, but he, without listening to his wife, says it's false. Don't listen to it. They go back to their own house, and they decide, wait, why don't we clean up the house first, in case they want to just to abandon it, so that way we don't have to live here. They decided to clean the house. They picked everything up. Everything looks completely new. That night, they were tired. They decided to not go back home. So they said, let's spend the night. That night, the uncle went to sleep in the son's room, and the aunt went to sleep in the father and mother's room. And so, the next morning, well actually that midnight, there was at exactly 1 in the morning, there was a scream from the son's room, aka where the uncle was. The aunt was still sleeping. She didn't even notice. The next morning, she was up, alive still. And as soon as she went to open the son's room, she found her husband dead in the bed, stabbed with an axe in his mouth. It had been chopped off. And now the mirror was completely empty. But then as soon as she tried to take off the axe off her husband's mouth, something grabbed her from the legs and pulled her out the kitchen. something popped open the door and swinged her into the air. When she tried to stop herself, she couldn't, and her eyes were all blurry. Something with this ghost was cursing her. It was some sort of like spirit. And then that night, she still survived that day. However, she was all bloody. She can't even walk anymore. She couldn't make it. And so as soon as she tried to step in the door, when all the way she had to walk, she couldn't do anything. And the ghost had made her do an action of suicide. She hangs herself from a tree, chokes herself, and hangs herself, and kills herself, and then she dies. And that ghost, that night, he turned everything into smoke. He burned the house himself. He haunted it. And now people are wondering who is behind this murder of a father, a mother, a son, an aunt, and an uncle. People still wonder, how did this happen? The ghost was claimed to be seen at a park nearby that house. It was claimed to be seen haunting a playground, and the swings would move by themselves at night without anyone swinging them. It's pretty creepy and unknown to what has happened, but it claims to be seen as if the ghost is still alive. Somebody has to get rid of it, or else it can haunt more people. To this day, that house is still haunted. It's been renewed to a mansion so that people will try to live in it again, and so that they don't think that it's haunted. It looks pretty new, pretty nice, and pretty comfortable to be in. The ghost now seems to be in there or haunting the place around it, but nobody knows that it's the same house because it looks different. Nothing is the same except the screams of people are heard at night, such as the uncle, the aunt, the mother, and the son. The ghost still lives,